Shivaya. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Pyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. So, continuing on with our review of the Nididhyasanam steps. So, as Swami Viditatmananda ji said, the Nididhyasanam is the process by which I know I am none other than Brahman. This is a very, this seems to be a very tall order. And it is a tall order because I am so buried under the false notion that I am just a limited being that it just seems very theoretical. Yeah, there's a possibility, but it is a fact. And to appreciate that fact, I have to have the right process. So, we start with the Shraddha, that yes, this is me. There's no doubt about that, because otherwise you will not only not be born as a Hindu, you will not even pursue the basic words of Ishvara through the Vedic. So you have the Shraddha. But Shraddha or not, it just seems like my own mind is such that it is so buried under this misconception that I am just a limited being. So this is what I have to really do. Ishvara is very patient. He says, I know. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. And let me into your heart. And I'll help you. It's okay. Just keep doing it. So the Nididhyasanam is, as Swamiji said last night, it is to understand Aham Brahmasmi. But I think what I really appreciate Adi Sankara's authorship in this one particular book, the one that we are studying, that what it is providing us is the roadmap for this process. I really appreciated that because I know I'm not there yet. This is everybody, all the sadhaka's feelings. But if I'm not quite sure about not only which way to go, I already have now figured out which way to go, the direction. This comes from Shravanam. But knowing which way to go, which direction to go, is not enough. Because there are so many obstacles, as we will review that today in the last class, that I get lost on the way. So it's kind of like a detailed GPS instructions. Okay, at this point you are likely to be lost. Okay? This is what happens. I don't know if you have it in this area, New Jersey, but in England they have it all over the place, and in California they're beginning to do. These are the roundabouts. Okay, so the roundabouts are interesting. We don't have that many, but we have a few. And if I take a route, normally it's very easy to see. There are 4. There's left, right, front, back, so on. But in a roundabout, you can have more than 4 roads. Sometimes there are. So they have an instruction which says, in the next roundabout, take the second one after you enter the roundabout. So now you are entering the roundabout. The very first one that comes in, is that the first one or the second one? Your doubt comes in. And then, so finally you hopefully go to the right one. So the point is, similarly that this is a much more complex version of roundabouts. And so you have to really figure out what is the roadmap that I have to follow. And I think this Aparokshanubhuti has done a very good job of giving us, as we will see, we'll complete this whole process, the roadmap for becoming a jnani, a jivan mukta. And I really appreciated that. Before that, I don't think I had as clear instructions as this one gives. So that's a kind of a preamble. So anyway, we were talking about number 7, which was asana. Asana. Where, how, so the yogic method is that you should really sit and with your eyes closed and your hands in your lap, back straight and looking straight, all those kinds of things. This is what is called asana. And one of them is also the siddhasana, that when you have a complete peaceful mind and then you don't move at all, this would be called siddhasana. This is all the yogic thing. So the question is, what additional points does Vedanta provide in terms of asana and siddhasana? So I think we've already seen all of that. And if you go back to, so there was one story where a shishya asks his guru, says, Guruji, where should I sit for the meditation? So the guru said, sit where I am sitting. So the student was very confused. He said, you are already sitting there. I can't sit on top of you. What do you mean by that? He says, sit where I am sitting. I am sitting at a place, and you should sit at the same place. And with some instruction, it finally dawned on him what he means. He says, I am sitting in the lap of Brahman. I am sitting where there is Satchitananda. You should also be sitting in the same Satchitananda. Where you are sitting, whether you're in a hall or a chair or something, it's not asana. Asana means the ultimate asana. And you could be sitting anywhere, you could be traveling in a train or on a flight, but if you see where you are at any time. That is the real asana. So then the student understood what the Vedantic asanam is. That is asana. Then I think it was Raj that asked this question. Where is Raj? He asked this question about Mool Bandha yesterday to Swamiji. So Adi Sankara takes Mool Bandha also as one of the topics, number 8. So I really don't know much about yoga, and I don't know what Mool Bandha is. I have some ideas from listening, from reading Swami, from Adi Shankara's one. But really speaking, Moola Bandha from a Vedantic standpoint is this. So in rough terms, what I understand is that in yoga, you close all orifices, all movement, eyes, this, that, everything. You close that off. In Vedantic terms, this is the same process but in a different way. So at this point, our existence, our mind, our experience is scattered. Scattered. All as you know very well, you don't have to tell anything about that. So the whole same process where you really close everything up and only open one door, Aham Brahmasmi. This is the essence of Moola Bandha in Vedanta. Okay, so that's what it is, and that's all I'm going to talk about as far as Moola Bandha is concerned. Then the next step is, so this is not really a specific Ashtanga step, but it's called Deha Samya. So Deha Samya means alignment of Dhyanam, Mantra, Guru, Atma, Paramatma, all in line. And from what I understand, again, I have no idea about Kundalini. So Kundalini is invoked by having complete alignment of everything. And if you do it for 12 minutes, from what I understand, this is all from reading Swami Akhandananda's books, really, not my thoughts. So it appears that if you are able to do Deha Samyam for 12 minutes, your Kundalini finally awakes. And if you are able to do it for 2 hours, then Samadhi ensues. So this is the yogic Deha Samyam. Now, the Vedantic Deha Samyam, it's different. It means a total absorption. So this is prior to Dhyanam and all of those. So these are all relative steps. And so this step simply means that yes, you have to align all of your thinking, your thoughts, as we did in our introductory in meditation on the first day, and I reminded of you that today also, where you really, the whole team is focused on one objective. And so for that, you have to align, you can call that as an alignment. So this is really what Deha Samyam is. There is nothing peculiar about that. Number 10. So this is a weighty one, an important one. Drik sthitihi. Drik sthitihi. where and how to focus the mind. Where should I be directed at that? As we saw in the meditation, you should be directed it at Brahman, this amazing light, in the form of Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So here, this is the same discussion. Dirik Sthiti means, where should I be directing my whole... Because the thing is, we are always directing our mind at something or the other. And the mind, of course, is only one of the, as Swami Dayananji used to say, that consider this, that the mind is like a taxi. So it's needed at various places. Somebody is calling you and said, hey, did you see this? So the taxi goes to that person. Then something else happens. Telephone rings. So the taxi goes there. So the mind is scattered in different directions, and sometimes you have multiple taxis that are going out. Sometimes the same taxi is going at different places, picking up somebody, leaving them back, picking up somebody else, like that. And the mind is the dispatcher. So the organs of actions are taxis, and the mind is the dispatcher. So I don't know how it is done now. It's all software and automated. So I have no idea. But in the old days, there'll be a person sitting there, and he or she's got a board in front of them. I imagine, I haven't seen this. And they would know exactly where any taxi is, where are the keys. So they are the supervisor who's supervising the whole operation of the taxis. So the mind is exactly like that. So the mind can also say, okay, let's look at this way. This is what I need. Supposing there are multiple demands of where I should look, and I need to make a decision. Okay, this is where I have to really concentrate. So this is the mind. This is the dispatcher, okay, the coordinator. So now the question is, where should this, in the case of Vedantic meditation, where should the mind direct itself and all the sense organs that follow it? Where should it look? So, there in yoga, so Adi Sankara has given all these possibilities. So one of them is the yogic system, where you focus any one thing, a non-flickering flame, the tip of your nose. And they say, doesn't matter. All you do is to look for something that is not moving, and also transform your mind as non-moving by concentrating on that. It's a very good technique. So the yogis do that. Then there is what is called dharma drishti. So in the Karma Kanda, this is given. The dharma drishti means that your drishti should be punya karma. Punya karma should be your drishti. And if for some reason you veered from the path and you had some bad karma that you did, either through, habitual ones or whatever it is, then you have to get the permission of Surya Devata by bowing to Surya Devata, apologizing and saying, I let my drishti veer away from dharma drishti to adharma drishti. So may you please help me redirect my focus and make sure that I am doing things which is not papa karma, but it is all punya karma. So this is the Karmakandin's view. Then there is an Upasana Drishti. So the Upasana Drishti is that you take a Vigraha that you like, some Ishta Devata, and you just focus on that Vigraha. And you say, listen, I am your devotee, please take care of me in any one possible ways. You know, it's really interesting. I didn't know this for a long time, that Ganapati, Ganesha, you know, when you are growing up for a long time, even when I was studying Vedanta, I had somehow that didn't dawn on me that Ganapati, we all thought that this is Vigna Vinashaka. It removes obstacles. This is how we pray to Ganesha, that please remove the obstacles. Make sure that if I am traveling, that nothing bad happens. If I'm appearing for an exam, I'm able to pass. All those kinds of things. What you discover after you really get into, I don't know why this is focused more, which is true, it's not, but it's incomplete. The real prayer for a Ganapati is to improve your buddhi. This is the same thing that the Gayatri mantra does, but this one is much more directed at the Ishtadevata to say, please help me be a wise person. Let me make the right decisions in my life. Okay? Help me do that. I have responsibility for doing it, but you please remove all obstacles, sure, certainly, to make sure that my buddhi is directed the right way. So in that case, the upasana drishti is that type. Is that you look for the help of your Ishtadevata to redirect your drishti towards the right thing. So this is one. What is Vedanta drishti? So just for your reference, this is given in verses 116 and 117. Okay? The Vedanta drishti. And the Vedanta drishti says, rather than looking at variation, look at the unity behind the variation. This is the general trend. I mean, if you're talking about what direction I should go, which way should I look, this is the way to look. We've already talked about it before, that the way my life is, that I am completely absorbed in looking at things that I see and experience. Really, from morning to evening, from breakfast, what I eat, the people that I talk to, situations, improvements, iPhones, everything is nothing but what I'm interacting with. And I am completely oblivious to what is it that makes my mind go in different directions. What is the source of my experience? So this is the Karya Karana Bhava. So here, the Acharyas all say, this is a very common but a good example, that instead of examining the very shape of the ornaments, appreciate the value of the content of the ornaments. So this is what happens, and it's very typical. It may be It may be putting the female family down, but exactly this is what happens. When there is a marriage in the Indian system, then the woman and her mother, they both kind of take over the responsibility of what kind of jewelry to get. But then the mother, along with the father, they decide ahead of time, I think we can afford this much gold to give away to our daughter. Then look at the value of the gold, of course, what type of a gold it is, how much money do they have, and then they say, okay, this is what we have to do. Now let the daughter decide what kind of jewelry she wants. Supposing she comes up with a very heavy, something for the neck, and it's really all full of gold and so on. So the first thing that, and this is really the father's responsibility, because the mother is also very involved with the selection of the ornaments. So the father has to ask the jeweler, how much is it? How much is the gold? So then he says, it is so much. He says, oh my gosh, if we buy this, there is nothing left for anything else. Can you buy something which is lighter? So this way of thinking, which is not, whereas where the mother and the daughter, they are much more concerned about fashion. What is the latest thing? No, mom, this is not what I want to get. You don't understand. This is all old-fashioned. She says, no, but this is good. See, I know this is good, but this is not what people appreciate. It's very interesting. In our house, we have two daughter-in-laws in our home. And so, Pammi was born at a different era where gold was the thing to get. And so my mother and her mother and grandmothers and all, they have given us a lot of gold things. Do you know we have a hard time giving it to our daughter-in-laws? They don't even like gold. They like silver more. What to do? Really, she's got a problem. She's got to figure out, okay, she tries to do it. And now we have granddaughters. And some of them, I think, like gold. I'm not sure. And some of them don't. She knows more. She can give a lecture on this. But, so it's all about fashion. Whereas the financier, I'm just giving that the father is the financier, has to really look at, can I afford it? What is the weight of the gold? And so on. So therefore, our acharyas say, it's fun to have variety. Not saying, no, don't have experiences, don't talk to people. It's not that. But your drishti, see, this is what we're saying. What is the Vedantic drishti? Your drishti should be, it's okay, I know all of this. But what is the unity behind the variety? To explore it. What is the connection between the variety and the unity? All those kinds of things, until we explore, for this is the nature of the vichara. Until we do that, life essentially would be wasted. This is the situation. So, in terms of the Vedantic drishti, the drishti we should have is the source of the variety, not the variety itself. So again I go back to it. Yatra yatra manojati oyati tatra tatra samadhayaha. This is the key sadhana. So in verse number 16, it says, this vision is parama udaraha. Parama udaraha, meaning it is the noblest way of looking at things. And why is it the noblest? Parama udaraha. Swami Akhandananda gives quite a bit of commentary on this. So he brings in the concept of miserliness. Karpanya dosha. As you know, Arjuna also says, Karpanya dosho apahat samadha. So he tells Krishna, he says, I need some guidance from you because somehow I'm a kripanaha. So kripanaha means a miserly person. What is the miserly person? The miserly person, which is really what I think characterizes us, honestly speaking, this is what it is. The Arjuna's character is indicative of us. We should really look at us ourselves in it. I think I admire Swamiji's example, Swami Muthananji's example. When he gave this example, it was really a revelation to me. So he says, when you first start studying Vedanta, and you start studying the various texts, Aparokshanubhuti, Bhagavad Gita, this, that, or the other, you tend to look upon it as a text. Oh, I'm studying this, and now I am on the 9th chapter, I finished the 9th chapter, now we are going to... this is how we look at it. So, Swamiji says, here's what it is. When you first buy a mirror, supposing you want to buy a mirror, and I remember this incident that happened when I was a young kid in Amritsar, living with my grandparents, my Nana Naniji. And there was a need of a mirror because the old mirror was so bad you couldn't even look at it. It had all kinds of, not just cracks, but it had some stuff which will not reflect properly. So my grandfather told his sons, he had 2 sons living with us, and he says, okay, go find a mirror. So they came back and they said, we've got a decision to make. Because there are Indian-made mirrors and there's also Belgium-made mirrors. Okay? And they told the grandfather, listen, there's no comparison. He says, you look at the Belgian mirror, it is so clean, and there's no imperfection. And the Indian mirrors kind of tell you what they are, but they're not really very well. But there's a big price difference. What do you think we should do? And the whole household was really struggling. We didn't have much money. So my grandfather said, no, I cannot afford the Belgian mirror. Just get the normal mirror. So they got this huge mirror, I think must be about 5 or 6 feet one. And I remember there was a big ceremony where all these people got together and then they put it on the wall to make sure it's straight and all that. I still remember that. This is what happens when we first study a text. As we're studying Aparokshanubhuti, you're probably thumbing through and say, 144 verses. This is like looking at a mirror. After the mirror is already in, do you ever look at a mirror? No. At the beginning, yes. You have to, first day or so, you have to make sure, no, just do it like this, everything. After that, you only look at your own reflection in the mirror. And now, if then you go back to your home, you can't even, if I ask you how big is it, you'll say, I don't know. Who cares? That's the fact. You're looking at yourself. So really speaking, whenever all these things are given, like for example, Arjuna saying, Karpanya dosho, that I have realized I am a kripanaha. we should see it is not. So you cannot just say, oh, very interesting. Arjuna says he is a miser. Okay, what's the next verse? You should pause and say, are they talking about me? No, I'm not a miser. I'm very generous with my time and so on and so forth. No, I'm not a miser. They're not talking about me. They're talking about you, my friend. They're talking about Arjuna represents you, nobody else. How? How am I a miser? So this is what, this. So here in verse number 116, Swami Akhandananda ji chooses to interpret this word called Parama Udaraha. This is the noblest vision. This is a vision. The nobleness of the vision is explained by Karpanya dosha. How? So Swamiji says, if you look at how you lead your life, you have an incredible wealth hidden within you, a very source of complete joy. Remember the very first day I gave you this example that I feel like I'm one of those, in the public television where people come in to say, what is this worth? What can you do? And then you say, oh my God, you have this? He'll say, yes. Are you sitting down? Let me tell you how much it is worth. So something like this. We have an incredible wealth. And what a miser does, this is interesting to see. The miser does not only not spend the money to help others, it doesn't spend the money to help himself. Oh, no, I don't want to touch it because I need to keep my wealth there. So you tell the person, no, you are okay, you can spend it. No, but I'm not sure, I may fall sick or something. And you leave an amazing amount of wealth to others. Nobody needs it. Both of our sons keep saying, hey guys, just relax. We are okay. You spend the money on yourself. But you think we will listen? No. We just say, we need it for our family and so on. Anyway, that's a separate thing. But here, the hallmark of a Kripana is one that you don't spend the money for helping others and you don't spend the money to help yourself. How is that relevant to me? By not understanding that you are okay, you are complete, you have so much joy that you should just tap into. You don't do it. You're so busy with life, with small things and so on. And as a result of your not appreciating that you are okay, you also have problems with others. You see, in terms of the typical examples that we have seen, it's kind of like, if you are a room space, you're fighting with other room spaces that you are bigger, I want to be like you, and this is not fair, and so on. Hey, you are also okay, you are also total space, the other one is also total space, enjoy it. Have that feeling. No, I can't have that feeling, as I don't know if I'm total space or not. All those look very theoretical to me. I am here now, and I don't like it, and therefore I'm fighting with the other people. This is so silly. So, the Parama Udara means, this is the thing. First of all, this is what is interesting. If you have an emergency while you are flying, so they give these instructions, that in case there is something, here's what you do, you're all supposed to listen to this. So as part of that, they say, if you have children, first put this mask on to yourself then give it to the children. That if you have a mother who's so selfless, and supposing, God forbid, there is a little emergency where these masks come down, the mother will try to put it to the child first, rather than itself. So no, the instructions are, please, listen to us. Put it on yourself so that you are capable of now getting enough oxygen, and then put it on the child. Exactly the same thing is said here. That please fulfill your own hunger by discovering the joy that you have. And as you do so, you'll be in a great position to help others. You won't fight with anybody, you won't be miserly, you'll be sharing, all of those things will happen. So this is why this Vedantic Drik Sthiti, given in 116, uses the word Parama Udara. Very nice commentary by Swami Akhandananda. So now another interesting point. In the same 116, it says, Drishti Jnanamayim Kritva. Jnanamayim Kritva. Then make whatever drishti you have, whatever you are doing, make it consistent with your understanding of the presence of Ishvara everywhere. The Jnanamayim Kritva. Okay? So here there is a kind of like a dialogue that Swami Akhandananda points out. He says, so this brings up a slightly different concept, which I don't know, but I think we didn't get time to really explore this very much. This concept is, somehow I feel I am responsible for my life. No one else really is helping. They're helping. I'm not saying nobody's helping. But really I am the one who has to do things. So Swamiji actually gives this example. He says, the people will tell me, what are you talking about, Ishvara and this, that or the other? Even if I have to put food in my mouth, I have to do it. Am I sitting there and saying, Ishvara, okay, put the food in my mouth? That doesn't happen. I have to do it on my own. So how can you say there is no karta, no bhokta, and so on? So Swamiji says, boredom. Good. Very nice example. Very good. But false. How? So, if you have to do something, if you have to eat, if you have to go somewhere, then it does require your own effort. Thank you, Raji. So listen to this carefully. If you have to do something, then you require your own team to be involved. Your buddhi, your mana, and etc. I agree with that. And by the way, just because you don't have a wrong feeling, the Mahatmas say that also is given to you. You didn't discover your own mind on your own. You don't have your own hands. Everything is given to you. So should you not be thinking about who the owner is? You are just a trustee. Even if you have to do things, it is not your own complete effort. It's a team effort between Ishvara and you. Have you acknowledged that? Are you acknowledging it completely as you're doing it? This is what you have to do. Now here comes the real thing. To understand what I am, do I have to do anything? This is a different situation altogether. This is not something that needs to be done. You are already complete. So don't tell me you have to do something. You have to do nothing. You're just looking at something and you're getting confused about it. Though you can say, how do I remove my ignorance? So remove it. What do you have to do to remove it? Just remove it. It happens. Just the fact that you understand who you are, that's enough. No, but that's not enough. Okay, fine. All right, go around, take a walk. Take a walk. You come back and then finally one day you will see, oh my God, I am okay the way I am. So, we have often, Swami Dayananda used to say that there is nothing to be done, there is something to be known. And here Swami Akhandananda expands that and says that 4 things become obvious to a Jivan Mukta, Brahmagyani. 4 things. 4 things become obvious to a Jivan Mukta. This is their experience. And we need to get to that point. 4 things are: there is nothing to know, there is nothing to do, there is nothing to give up, and nothing to get. This is the real meaning of I am complete. You don't even have a desire to know. You've already known what needs to be done. So here there is another section in this Aparokshanubhuti that we didn't have time to get. So that topic, that concept, we didn't get, but it is embedded in the understanding, which is the identity between Jnata and Jnaya, the knower and the known. There is a gap initially, but there is no gap. As Swami Viditatmananda was saying, this is a meditation on the meditator. So meditated is called Jnaya, one that is which is to be known. And the meditator is called Jnata. And there is complete identity between them. That I don't understand in the beginning, but I will. I will. Because that is a fact. A fact cannot be avoided for too long. You can pretend it, you can avoid it, whatever it is, but that is a fact. So this is really the example. You say that I am not a karta, I am not a bhokta. This is one of the final things that are to be looked into. Well, the question is, how can that be? Because if I have to turn left, then I have to turn left. If I have to turn right, I have to turn right. I have to do that. Should I stay in the class? Should I walk out? Should I go for breakfast? I have to do that. Yes. But we are not talking about have to do anything. We're not talking about have to do or eat to anything. You are already that. But you're not listening to me. Because you say, no, I know, I understand what you're saying, but then I have to do something. No, you don't have to do anything. No, but then, So this but always keeps on going. I understand what you're saying, but. I can just make a quick advertisement on this but. This really is an important thing to. So really, what keeps us from the total fulfillment is this but, ... I recall this so well. Our course had finished in Piercy. And so we went through, very long, 2.5 years courses that he gives to all the Swamis. So that had finished. And at the very end, then we had a convocation, everybody, Swamiji, just all of that. Then I drove Swamiji back. I still remember. I was bringing him back to the airport or something. He was staying with me or something, I don't remember. But I was traveling in the car for 4 hours with him and just kind of reviewing everything and so on. But then I asked him, Swamiji, what do I need to do now? I have done, a fair amount of study with you and I'm committed and, nothing, it's not like I'm asking, but I'm just asking you what I should do now. And I don't think I had even finished the question when he answered, remove your doubts. And it was interesting. I remember this. I said, this is not an answer I was looking for. You know why? Because I thought I don't have any doubts. I'm okay. I understand what it is. That was not the case. All my behavior and so on, it was still based on an ajnani, even though I think I'm a jnani. And what prevents an ajnani to become a jnani or to be a jnani is clearing doubts. Clearing doubts. So this is what happens. And all the acharyas, you look at any text, any Mahatma, they will all say, your life. This is what Mananam is, really speaking. What Mananam is clearing all your doubts. You kind of know it, but you kind of don't. So this is the dialogue I was just telling you, that somebody says, no, but what do I have to do? So the Mahatma says, you're not listening to me. You don't have to do anything. No, I understand that, but my dear student, you're not listening to me. You say, yes, I am listening to you, but this is what happens. Swami Maheshananji has in one of his books, he has a very interesting expo to do this. So he talks about a person who was studying but was very doubtful. So it was exactly like this, where the student is saying, I understand what you're saying, but. I understand what you're saying, but. It all ends with but. So this Mahatma told him, okay, I can't talk to you anymore. So you go to such and such place and just go there. So he says, okay, or that is what the next instructions are, I'll do that. So he goes to this place and he looks around and he finds out, where is this place? So what he finds out is, there is a cave, a big cave, and there is a person who introduces, okay, you've been sent here, okay, come with me. he finds that there are people hanging from a string upside down. Their hands are down, their feet are down, and they're very uncomfortable. And they're all hanging from some kind of a string. And this guy his feet are tied together, and he's made to hang there also. So when he's there, if you're sent in a prison, so you ask the other prisoners, "Why are you here? What did you do?" He says, "Oh, in my anger I killed this person." "Oh, I see. How about you?" "Oh, I did something really bad." So like that, this guy talked to all the other people and he says, "Why are you here?" He says, "My Guru sent me here because I was kept doubting him. I just had but." So anybody that ends with a but is asked to go upside down and just meditate for a while. So this is an important point really, that I do not want to give up my sense of responsibility that I am the one who is doing it. Because the sense of responsibility may be relevant for something that you do, but not for something that you know that you are already there. That's all. So this is a very good explanation of Driksthitihi. What is the Vedantic Driksthitihi? Half hour more. Okay, I'm going to now speed up. Next one, number 11, is pranayama. Okay, so again I'll take a short view of this. So as you know, people that do pranayama, they all know that there are three basic stages. There is rechaka, of taking the breath out, puraka, taking the breath in, and kumbhaka, retaining the breath. So here the question is, what is the Vedantic view of pranayama? You can almost guess at this point because we know what our trends are, what we are doing, and this keeping with this trend, here is the Vedantic pranayama. So rechaka means prapancha nishedha. Prapancha nishedha means you take out the world from your view. So you take it out like rechaka. The world from your view means that the whole world appears to you through your thoughts only. It doesn't appear you any other way. Only through your thoughts. I mean, it's very possible that it can hit your body. That's a very small part of the whole problem. The biggest problem we have is mental. You have a certain idea about what the world is, how it's bothering you, etc. Take that out. This is called rechaka. Then puraka is just the opposite. Aham brahmasmi. Fill yourself with this thought. And kumbhaka means the nischalata of brahmasmi vritti. Retain it as much as possible. I understand that it will not be there for a long time initially, but with practice, this kumbhaka becomes very natural. So this is what is called Brahma, is a Brahma nishtha, nishtha. The Brahma nishtha means that you are able to retain, and in the beginning it's like an effort, but then it becomes natural. Like in the beginning, learning to ride a bike is an effort. And you fall and you tell, I can't do this, but you can do it. And then, it's so interesting. I see these bicyclists, while they are on the bicycle, they are looking at their iPhones. This is just amazing. Just incredible. They are not even aware of the fact that they are going on the bike. They are absolutely. This is a good example, really, because this is what the case of Brahma Nishta is. They are not aware of the fact. I am doing Kumbhaka. I am Brahmasmi. In the beginning, yes, when you're learning to ride a bike, yes, you have to say left, right. Sometimes you fall this way, sometimes you fall this way. No. It becomes the same thing on swimming. It becomes effortless. So here, this is the state of the pranayama from a Vedantic standpoint that we should think about. Okay, then there are last four left. 12, 13, 14 and 15. Number 12 is pratyahara, 13 is dharana, 14 is dhyanam, and 15 is samadhi. So this should be taken as a group. How? Pratyahara. Pratyahara has to do with objects. It is related to objects. So the pratyahara means you absorb yourself from a yogic standpoint. You absorb yourself in yourself and leave everything outside. This is what pratyahara is. There is a big technical explanation of pratyahara, Swami Akhandananda gives, which is from ahara. So ahara means to eat. Pratyahara means to expel. And so you just absorb yourself and let everything be outside. So this has to do with the drishti of objects. So this is stage number one. Then the next one is dharana, which is based on location. Desha drishti. The first is vastu drishti, the second one is desha drishti. In the desha drishti, we've already talked about it. So this is just an advanced stage of wherever you are, there is the right desha. You don't have to be at one particular place. Here Swami Akhandananda gives a very beautiful example. He says, all of these things that we are talking about really become relevant when we become true mumukshu. Right now we are not true mumukshu. We don't really want it. It's not clear to us. It's kind of nice to listen to some classes and feel, I did well. That's not being a mumukshu. Mumukshu means, I want to get this. This is important. I am really hungry for it. So in that sense, I'm doing all this dramatics because Swami Akhandananda gave a very beautiful example. He says, supposing you are extremely hungry, very hungry. You haven't eaten, you're tired, this, that or the other. At that point, what you want is just some food which is eatable food. You're not going to eat dirt. You're just going to eat edible food. But any edible food. You don't have saying, you can be very, very hungry and say, okay, here's some dosa and sambar. So you said, no, I'm not a South Indian. I only want roti. I don't want dosa. So he said, didn't you say you're very hungry? He says, yes, I'm hungry, but I cannot eat. I just continue to be hungry. That doesn't happen. You will eat whatever removes your hunger. So this is a drishti that is needed. Dharana means, doesn't make any difference. Whatever thoughts I come, I tackle it at that point. I don't have to have a particular thought that only that I will do it. No. This is the Vedantic drishti. Dharana. Then comes dhyanam, number 14. So here the dhyanam is the following. Swami Akhandananda says that here's what happens. Through Shravanam, so before Shravanam, before the study and introduction to Vedanta, you have one train of thoughts. And this train of thoughts all has to do with, all related to the fact that I'm a limited being. As we saw in the meditation, that is the boss. The buddhi which says, so you ask somebody, who are you? He says, fundamentally I'm a human being. That's what I am. You may be a human being, but you're not fundamentally a human being. Fundamentally you are Brahman. You are taking yourself to be a human being during these 8 hours, 12 hours. You don't even do that for the rest of the night. You are not a human being. But I feel I'm a human being. Okay? So, what then happens is, then you listen to Vedanta. So before listening to Vedanta, you have one train of thoughts which is all based on the single thought that I'm a limited being. And I have some properties, I have some worries, I have some issues, all related to the limited being. Then you listen to Vedanta. Now you are introduced to a different line of thinking. And there is a lot of things in that line that I have to know. You are okay the way you are. By the way, you were never born. By the way, you are self-existing. By the way, you are, the Ananda is yourself. This is a line of thinking. There's lots to be thought about. Not just saying, I'm just a Sakshi, I'm just a Sakshi. That's not enough, as we have already discussed it. So there is a train of thoughts that you have to pursue. It's kind of like in going in two directions. So dhyana means pursuing this line of thinking rather than that line of thinking. This is what dhyana means. Okay. There's a lot of detail with respect to it in terms of what the possibilities are. Those are all given in the book, and you can certainly look at it. But anyway, basically that is what dhyanam is. And then finally the samadhi. And so the samadhi also is not something dramatic. It just means that your understanding of who you are is very clear. Aham satyam jnanam anantam. Jnana sarupoham. This is vritti jnanam, where any other thought which says you are limited is seen to be mithya. That thought, before that, those thoughts were real to me. After the understanding of samadhi, those thoughts are just, they kind of appear and they disappear. There is no reality to it. The only reality is who I am, which is satyam jnanam anantam, satchidananda. This is the samadhi. So this is what the Vedantic meditation steps are. We got little change, short change for time, but then you can study it on your own. The next topic I want to do that is the obstacles to this sadhana. So this is a sadhana. The entire 15 steps to the samadhi is called sadhana. And now let us briefly look at the obstacles to the samadhi. So here are the ones. This is given in verses 127 and 128. Okay? First one is anusandhana rahityam. Means you are not used to contemplating. This word contemplating is a very good English word. They're not a good English translation, but I really like this. This means chintanam, absorption. So it's the word is okay, but even more than that, we are totally familiar with it. Anytime somebody is reading a book that is really interesting, and you don't want to be disturbed. In fact, if somebody says to you, "Hey, are you listening to me?" and you're not even listening, because you're totally absorbed. Same thing on watching some kind of a show or a movie. That is contemplation, where your focus effortlessly is on one direction. So here, the contemplation on Brahman is something that I have to develop. So one obstacle is you are not able to develop it because you are just going around in different directions. Mind does not cooperate. So developing that habit is one thing. So this is an obstacle. I'm just giving you the various obstacles. This is number one. Second one is alasyam. Alasyam means laziness, which would say, I really should be studying this, but we'll do that tomorrow. Today I'm very busy with other things, and I just don't have the effort. Alasyam. Third one is bhogalalasanam. Greed to do other things. Some TV shows come up, some music or something. You were contemplating, but something else distracted you and removed you from the continuation of the contemplation. So bhogalalasanam, good food. Somebody gives you, rasamlai, and you say, okay, forget about the contemplation, let me just eat rasamalai. Then another one is laya. So laya means that you become sleepy. You don't have sleep yet, but you become sleepy. And this is why they say that really meditation and study should be done on a relatively empty stomach. If you've had a heavy meal, then please wait. Don't force yourself to think, because the oxygen is going someplace else. It's not available for your contemplation. So laya. Tamascha. Tamaha is the next one, which is you are completely asleep. Swami Dayananda used to say this. So he was a student of Swami Taranandji in Haridwar, who I have also met Swami Taranandji. So Swami Dayanandji had two gurus. One Swami Pranavananda from Vijayawada, and one is Swami Tarananda. And Swami Chinmayananda also introduced him. But his real teacher, who really taught him all the Brahma Sutras, etc., was Swami Taranandji. So Swami Taranandji says that we would be sitting there, about 4 people. Taranandji will be sitting here, and there will be 4 or 5 people. And one of the people who was sitting there was very fond of having good meals. So he would come in with a heavy meal, and he was very interested in studying. Before you know it, all you heard was his snoring. And he is, of course, he is completely out of it, but he's also disturbing everybody else. So he said, Taranandji, who was Hindi speaking, so I'll just do that in Hindi first. So he says, Swami Taranand will say, Uthiye, uthiye, ye cheez sunne ki hai, sone ki nahi hai. It is not for sleeping, it is to learn. Wake up. So really just a complete sleep that happens is also one of the obstacles. Then the next one is vikshepa. Vikshepa means that your mind is just going in all different directions. You've had too much coffee and you're not able to really contemplate. Another one which is very, very important one, I think, because quite frankly, I also was I mean, it's not as though I didn't have the others. I have all of these at some point or the other. I probably still do. But the one that really I can relate to is what is called rasa swada. So what happens is, as you understand this, your mind becomes very peaceful. Very peaceful. And you enjoy that. You enjoy that. You say, wow, I didn't know that this could be so nice. And you know what? You want to stay there and not study anymore. It's like, I think, I don't remember, one of the acharyas had said this. This is like declaring victory before it is over. It's like you won a battle. You won a battle and you say, wow, aren't we great? We won it. And you are sitting there. And in the meantime, your enemies are regrouping. And pretty soon they are going to attack you while you are enjoying yourself. So really, ceasing to strive until you are completely done is what is called rasaswada, which is a very subtle obstacle really, but it is an obstacle. And I remember that in my life also, I feel that I'm done. I was not done. More had to be done, more doubts had to be removed, but at least I had this feeling that I'm done. So rasaswada. Another one is abhimana. Abhimana means some kind of an identification, and generally an identification that I am doing very well. So many of the Vividisha sannyasis, when the sannyasis are given the diksha, they have this. I am now a sannyasi. And now I am people can respect me. They're studying a little bit, but that hunger to complete that is missing. Why? Because they get distracted because of the abhimana. And on a lesser level, any kind of this is, by the way, there is a word in Vedanta called asakti. So asakti means you are so tied to it that you can give up other things, but this one you don't want to give up. So the example given is that of political parties. Like supposing you are a Republican, okay? So you feel I am a Republican. Now some of the Republicans are doing some stupid things. Trump is doing something, DeSantis is doing some very silly things and so on. So you are told, hey, is this the kind of party you want to belong to? So you say, no, I agree they are bad, but I am still a Republican. This is called asakti. So why don't you become an independent candidate or become a Democratic? No, I'm a Republican. So similarly, this abhimana, that I am just this person, don't disturb that part of it, is also an obstruction. Because for Brahma Jnanam, you have to give up all abhimanas. Some very positive abhimanas, some negative also. I'm not capable of really understanding this. That means I'm not a very perfect student. This is also an abhimana. Give that up. So abhimana. Then comes the last one, which is shunyata. Shunyata. So this is the goal of Buddhists. The goal of Buddhists, and it's not just it's not limited to the Buddhists, it's to everybody. The goal of the Buddhists is complete cessation of anything. I may not understand who I am, but I am okay being zero. And so you just sit there without really doing anything. You are okay with things for the time being, and you have not really asserted yourself in terms of the understanding. So this is called shunyata. So anyway, those are the obstacles to sadhana, that all these are given in the Aparokshanubhuti. So in the last 5 minutes, I'd like to just summarize. It was good to get together, and it is as good for me as it hopefully for you, because just to go over the points so that they're very clear in our minds is very helpful. And so the advanced nature of this course, based on the advanced nature of the book, should be clear to us, which is, this provides a roadmap for Jivan Mukti. It doesn't mean that it is not meant to put you down saying, don't you understand this? That's not the objective. But we should be very clear about where we have to go and how to get there. And from there, whatever you read, whatever text you read, can be done in relationship to this overall objective of what this book provides. Yes. And these are words of Adi Sankara, not an ordinary person. Yes, this jives with it. Another thing, in your life, you can measure where you are in this path. In some of the basic things, if you don't have, then you should be honest with yourself. That I have to fulfill this, I have to do that. That also needs to be there also. But with this course, it was very fortunate that we had some time to get together and review the basic steps at a very advanced level. And the advanced level is from a Paramarthika Sat standpoint, not a Vyavaharika Sat standpoint. So for instance, when the book points out that there is no srishti, there is no creation, there is no karana karya bhava, there is not even a prarabdha karma, there is no future, no past, no anything. It is from the standpoint of a waker. We should see this. This is the example given by Ishvara, that you are very concerned with the details of your life as long as you are inside of that. Like in a dream, you are very concerned about doing this, doing that. Just like in the waking life, we are very concerned, okay, this is my responsibility, this is where I'm going, etc., etc. But that's not the real you. You don't need to be concerned. You don't have any responsibility. There's nothing to be done. That may not be your and my experience, but what this text, beautiful text provides us is a roadmap to getting there. Because the truth is very true. It is very true that as a person who has already waken up from, as Swami Viditatmananda was also saying, that once you are out of the dream, then there is no karana karya bhava, there is no prarabdha karma, there is no future, no nothing. The whole thing is gone. That is really our real nature. But in the meantime, if we don't understand it, then you keep doing it. Prarabdha should be accepted, but any other time that you have, you should develop a sense of contemplation so that it wakes you up by doing the proper vichara, by knowing what the andhakara means, what is the ajnanam, what is jnanam, what is mananam, doing it, looking at the obstacles of it. All of that is a very beautiful roadmap in this very important book. So my best wishes to you for follow-up at your own leisure. And certainly if you had any questions in the meantime, then feel free to contact me. And I really appreciate having the time to teach it to you in just within 1 week. This is kind of like a temporary sannyasa, if you may. Once a week classes are difficult because everything goes back, to reset within 1 week. But to have 3 classes a day, be together and so on, leaves a deeper mark. And I'm very happy that you were here. My best wishes to you, my blessings, my prayers for a completion of our life's journey for both yours and mine, myself. We are all this in together, and my best wishes to you. Hari Om. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Please wait for 5 minutes for Guru Dakshina. Thank you.
So, in the meantime, until Swamiji comes, if you had any questions or other things, sure. Surendra? Yeah.
So that's the yogic view.
Yeah.
Then there is a Vedantic view. So in Gita chapter 5, we are talking about the same thing, focusing the tip of the nose. So is Gita professing yogic view and not Vedantic view?
No, that's a good question, very good question. The question is that Gita talks about focusing on your nose. So is it just doing the Vedantic? I think we should not get carried about the yogic view and the Vedantic views as much. The yogic view in this sense could be considered as a step. Okay? So if you go back to the Bhagavad Gita, this is what is called Vishwato Mukhaha. Vishwato Mukhaha means that it is a helpful treatise for a variety of people. So you can actually, you see many courses based on the Gita, which is called management practices. There's a friend of mine that does it. A lot of other people are doing it. They are advising companies on the lessons of Gita to be applied to their companies. So what does that mean? That's not the real tatparya of the Gita. The real tatparya of the Gita is Aham Brahmasmi. But do they ever talk about that? And it is appropriate. You just look at some aspects of it. So, Gita is Vishwato Mukha means that it has a variety of people that it is addressing at various stages of their life. So at some stage of the life, if you want to just do the practice of focusing on the tip of nose, that's not bad, that's good. But it's not the final answer. Not the final answer. So instead of looking at it as a yogic versus Vedantic, as Swami Viditatmananda said so well, that the yoga is also part of the Vedanta. That's a practice that we have that we should borrow and learn from. But in our view, the final view is Aham Brahmasmi, not any other things and so on. And I remember Swami Dayananda, I studied so many years with him. And if you are familiar with his teaching in general, there were times here, there were 300-400 people. I remember who I was talking to. They said they had people all the way they had loudspeaker outside and so on. So when you have 300-400 people, chances of all of them being on the same level are very low. Some of them are introductory, some of them are advanced, some of them are intermediate. This is what happens. And I remember having a lot of discussions about this with Swamiji. But what he had to do is look at what the challenges of a guru like that is. Lose none of the binds during this period. He has to appeal something for the advanced minds. He has to appeal to somebody who's an introductory into the subject matter. And he did that very well, with stories, with jokes, and then there would be something profound at the end of the joke. So Swamiji's communication levels were just phenomenal. And he taught a lot. I tried to learn as much as possible without that. So the Gita, when they talk about this, the tip of the nose, doesn't mean he's talking to advanced people. He's talking to people who are still getting there. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Swamiji is on his way.
Okay. Hari Om.
hopefully you like this place, like the environment, and therefore will come here more often to attend other retreats. Well, I congratulate you that you completed the study of the text, Aparokshanubhuti. As we have seen, it's a somewhat advanced text of Vedanta. At the same time, a complete text also, which gives us all the aspects of what we need to do for our spiritual growth and maturity. So I hope that since Vijayji has also given you a book, which I think is a large book, I was a bit surprised when I saw the final version of that. It has become a big book. Well, after all, there are 144 verses. And I guess doing justice to these verses seems to have taken a big volume. At the same time, I think that we have been able to do justice to each verse. So the verses are repetitive, as you have seen, which needed shorter explanations, and others needed longer explanations. But it is a very beautiful text in its own way, and I hope that you will continue studying that after you return. Give some time to this to reflect upon, revisit what you studied, reflect upon what you studied, and it will be very, very beneficial. This book has its own style. This text has its own style, the author has his own style, and provides its own unique way of contemplation upon Vedanta, raising various questions and answering them. That's the format of the book that has been selected by the author. And as I said, I hope that you will be able to make some time to revisit and study the book. You may have made some notes in the class, and then so that should be very beneficial. I also hope that you will come back again to the Gurukulam, as Vijay has said. It's a home away from the home, and home away from the home as far as the facilities are concerned. It is much more than a home in as much as it gives us the opportunity to pray, to contemplate, to meditate. Very beautiful walks here for you to reflect, meditate. So I'm happy that it has developed into a very beautiful place, a very beautiful religious, spiritual and contemplative campus. And Vijayji never gets tired of praising its facilities and its organization and all the services that it provides. So I hope that you will be motivated to visit here again in other camps. And with that, I wish you the very best. Number one, to congratulate you that you chose to spend a week here all the way from your home. And number Number 2, that this will be a memorable experience and that it will provide a greater impetus to your spiritual journey. With that, my best wishes and blessings to all of you. We conclude this retreat with Guru Dakshina, with the